Hey guys, what's going on? It seems like these days our email inboxes get overwhelmed with sale over sale and another sale, and then there's a sale, and you better act fast. So I want to take a moment to head to the Made by Brainworks sale that is currently going on. We're going to be talking about Brainworks plugins, but no matter when you watch this, you can always reference back to this because I'm going to be talking about the plugins and if you should even be getting them. So right now it's a sale by Brainworks plugins, so you can get those on Plugin Alliance. All right, guys, here we go. So Black Box Analog Design HG2MS. Eric Racy, who I actually know, was involved in this. This is the mid-side version of their Black Box, which again exists in the analog domain. It's a real box. It's a coveted box. People really like it. I do like this plugin. You have to be quite moderate in it. I like to use it just a tiny bit here and there. It gives a little nice shine. Next up is the AMEG mastering compressor. This is not an exact replica of something that exists out there in the wild, but it's extremely powerful in that 1 to 2 dB range. For mastering, also for some bus processing. It's extremely versatile and you can fine tune. So you have these three elements, green, red, and yellow, where you control how the compressor reacts to different types of timing information. And that's a thing that's very common in mastering. We've seen this also with the Kotelnikov Gentleman Edition compressor. That's also one of my favorites, which is super transparent, no color, it's all digital. Also a good tool. If you have that one already, this would be a nice companion to it. For that price, for $29.99, I would jump on this, to be honest. The clipper, I also like it a lot, and you heard me take a breath here because it is a really, really good clipper. It's one of the latest releases. Also has, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this ambience button, which is basically Delta. Many plugins of Plugin Alliance and Brainworks don't have it. It's also resizable, so you get a lot of information on this clipper. It has a mid-side mode, and you know the amount of saturation or hard clipping. So soft clipping adds some saturation at that point where it gets clipped off, or just a hard clipper. I do recommend it. The price tag is quite a bit high. This was a great surprise for me when Brainworks came out with this clipper. It was like, wow, this is really well done. No gimmicks here. I didn't have a chance to look at the Brainworks enhancer. All right, let's keep going. I got the BX enhancer here for $89.99. That seems like a lot of money, but that's because it's a new product. Then there's 3-body technology, this new compressor. I don't know it yet. We got on sale also the Kirchhoff. That's not a Brainworks plugin. Let's keep going. So the typical Brainworks sales here. Opticom XLA 3 is too colored for me. If you want something that's really colored, it would be an interesting compressor. I'm gonna jump over flanger and tap delay. These are quite old. EQ 200, EQ 250 by AMEG. And again, here's you get the AMEG mastering compressor. If you want an EQ that's very easy to use, has great curves. I think the 200 or the 250 would suit you well. I don't think you need both. The curves are different, but get to work in one of them, and if it suits you, use it. Get really good at it. So these are good, easy to use plugins and very intuitive. For $19.99, an amPlug B15N. That is actually the same plugin that you get at Universal Audio's website. It's the same plugin, it's just natively driven. I had this plugin when I was with Universal Audio, and yeah, it sounds great for colored vintage bass tone. SVT3 Pro sounds very, very good, but to me that's more a practice amp that sounds good in a rehearsal. It's just too dark and boomy in a recording situation. So if you just like playing with this, with the SVT3 Pro, if you want that sound, it really does sound like an SVT3 Pro. If you love that sound, it gives you inspiration while playing, yeah, great, but I wouldn't mix with it. So yeah, keep that in mind. SVT VR, excellent amp. I think the Classic being the same price as the SVT VR. This is the same plugin, just with another channel. So don't even look at the SVT VR Classic if you can get the VR for the same price. That's an excellent plugin. It really gives you that amp sound, that vintage amp sound. The 4B, just test that out. It's maybe a faithful reissue. Sounded pretty good when I tested it, but I kind of like forgot about it and then went back to the SVT VR. Maybe I should take a second look. The black box analog design, I think again here, I believe you're getting this if you're getting the MS version, which is $29.99. So don't even look at this. Well, I'm saying it like that. You can look at it, but I'm just telling you there's a better deal out there, and it's right here. We already talked about it. This is one of the older vintage, almost vintage Brainworks plugins. I don't look at these because they are harder to operate. They don't upscale on the monitor. It's just more of a pain to work. If I'd work with this, I'd rather work with a Pro Q3, to be honest. Bass Dude, yeah, it's a guitar amp. I really like it. It has some heft to it. I'm not going to comment on these three here. There are better plugins out there for all of this. The distortion, the chorus, the boom, the Clean Sweep Pro, the Clipper. It's still expensive though, you know, but because it's a newer plugin. Then something I haven't tried is this console AMIC 200, $69.99 for this channel strip. It's a good question. There's the AMIC $19.99. There's a review on my channel for $29.99. This thing gives you a lot. For versatility, I think you can pretty much do anything you want. Well, anyways, check out my review. I think this is a really versatile, crazy with a clipper and a limiter channel strip. You can do a lot of damage with that and throw some attitude into your mixes. I would say out of all of these, probably the most I loved from the Brainworks ones, this typical, you know, these typical SSL emulators would be the 9000J. Delay 2500, great concept, kind of hard to adjust, kind of outdated user interface. Same here. So I would say skip all these things that have been developed ages ago. They're a pain in the butt to look at, and just not so much fun. You can do this with other products. Here we go, limiter True Peak. This is a very good limiter. If you're really serious about mastering, that's not what I would use. Use the L2 by FabFilter. Maybe use the Sonable Smart Limit. The Brainworks, even though I own it, has not made it into my mastering chain, I must say. And I don't know why that is, because you can get pretty loud with this without having lots of artifacts. I maybe want to rediscover this. But again, my mind can wrap itself around one or two limiters, and knowing them, I don't want to know 5 limiters and then remember what the differences are. There's not enough space in my brain, sorry. Now we're going into these all-in-one mastering solutions. Since I do mastering for clients, I don't love this. This is competition. To mix into this, to give you an idea how your mix could sound, that's actually not a bad idea, and then take it off. Whether that's a false sense of security or coloring a signal, already messing with things you shouldn't be messing with, that's up for debate. There's only 2 you should be thinking of. First of all, the Master Desk. That's old. And then they updated it to Master Desk True Peak. Was a paid update, wasn't free, which I don't like. It's the same thing with a slight update. They could have made a legacy mode switch and then made it BX Master Desk True Peak with a little switch to get the settings back for BX Master Desk in existing sessions. That's always the excuse. Oh, what if somebody has an existing session and we update the plugin? No. Apple gives you a free upgrade from Logic 9, I shouldn't say it, from Logic 10.5 to 10.6. They're not saying, oh, what if this breaks, and not sell the same plugin 3 times. There's already some investment here that happened. Now, the BX Master Desk Pro, now that I ranted, is an excellent mastering solution. By the way, the competing product here would be Tokyo Labs Limiter 6, which is really excellent. That's a pro tool. Everything you do has a high level of control. You don't have that here. Even though it looks like it looks like, oh, you can control everything, and not quite. And you gotta get your mind, I also have a review on this on my channel, you gotta get your mind around it, where things are and how it's routed. It's got a clipper, it's got a limiter, it's got a very, very gentle EQ, -3 to 3 dB range. This is a tilt EQ here. Anyways, moving on. On the guitar amps, I'm not a fan of guitar distortion plugins. BX meter used to be a staple for many people, but I think, you know, this not having LUFS is an issue. BX Oberhausen is a great sounding synthesizer. This plugin, the BX Opto, is like an LA2A without the coloration, but it's super old, and you can get that when you buy some other product. Sometimes this is included for free. I don't think you should be charging for this anymore. I'm skipping through these guitar plugins just because I'm using Neural DSP and amPlug, and there are amPlug baby versions that are quite cheap. Or sometimes free when you buy something. So I would look into those. Also, this cannot be upscaled. The user interface is blurry and tiny. I'm staying away from these. The mid-side reverb by Brainworks is really, really good, but I feel also it's quite dated at this point. I own it, I don't use it. Jumping over all of these, now it's getting interesting again. The LX Thanos Bass Compressor for $29.99. If you don't have a G-style compressor, you want one that's really, really good, that's it. That's the one. Very, very good. Excellent. You can just use this, maybe have one other bass compressor, and that's it. Skipping over these, Dangerous Music Bax EQ. Absolutely fantastic. The level, what it does to your mix, to your master, these gentle curves to raise and lift in a gentle way. Almost no other plugin does it like that. So it's super small. It hasn't been updated. It's also not a Brainworks plugin, so I'm already off target. Okay, all right. I thought I'm in a movie here. But this is excellent. This is absolutely excellent. Excellent alpha compressor, compressor, music, character. These are great, and these are great prices. But people keep telling Plugin Alliance, please adjust the user interface. It's tiny. It's this is how it looks like. I mean, it's not been fixed. It's been there for 10 years, and they have not changed the GUI. It's blurry. It looks on a 4K screen. It's absolutely, look, this is like from when? Everybody tells Plugin Alliance, if you look at the comments, please update the size. If we go into, if you don't believe me, let's look at the reviews here. Okay, here we go. Everyone is using a 1-to-1 pixels. I'm directly enter. Unreadable, and I have very good eyesight. Yes, here. It needs a resizable GUI. I get it. It's probably a low. No, it shouldn't be a low priority. It should be high priority and should be getting done tomorrow. You know, and this is in February. This is about a year ago. Let's see how far back we can see these complaints. So if we go back to 2016, I'll deduct 1 star for the tiny GUI that can't be adjusted and the insane price tag. Well, now we don't have the price tag, but what is this? That's 8 years ago. They're telling them the GUI is too small. I would say, you know, email Plugin Alliance, say, please fix this. If they do and update it, well, they'd probably sell you another version. They'll probably say like, hey, Compressor Mark II, screw you, Compressor Mark I owners. Here's the new one for $199.99. Maybe oversampling and ambience mode added, but I don't want to give them ideas. I actually do like E765RT. It has some heft. I like the Buxom Betty. I used to own it with Universal Audio. And the Fuchs Train 2, also great. Gallion Kruger 800 RB, no, not really. Soma, NIF Soma, very gentle, passive tube EQ. I recommend it. Remember when we talked about the AMEC 200 and 250? How many of these are you gonna get? Just 1 or 2, no more than that. And one of them should be a digital EQ, like a Kirchhoff or a Broker U3. Saturate 2, never tried that out. Also here again with the Mac Audio. Yes, I get it, the Airband, very popular, but man, tiny. This is like, it's like the size of your thumb on a big monitor. Absolutely no. Maor Applebaum is pushing his products everywhere you go. Then he says it's not the same as the hardware box. Well, it's not, but I like using it. It sounds really good. I mean, it gets quite aggressive quickly, but you can dial that down with the mix knob or with the headroom knob. I use it, and you can add, you know, loudness, you can add brightness without, you know, making things harsh. It's a really good product, no question about it. So if he tells you it's good, he's right. These I skip over. Purple Audio, great plugin, one of the best 1176 emulations out there. Again, here with the Shadow Hills, we talked about it a second ago. I'd skip over these. I was all into them, but I don't use them. Attacker, de-esser, deverb, all of this can be done better these days with AI-powered plugins. SPL Iron, excellent plugin. I can get behind that one. If you need a very good mastering compressor, this could be one of them. Pasek, too old by now, can't upscale it, tiny, hard to see. It's got a very nice high band, so I like that. That's good. SPL PQ, 100%, another one of their great EQs. That is actually has a counterpart in the real world, and people use this. You see this in a lot of mastering studios. It's close to reality. Lisa is a handful to use. Gotta tell you, for $29.99, that's very cheap for a very good plugin. You gotta get your mind around it. It's a dynamic EQ. It just sounds freaking good. It's a little bit too much. I think in the real world it's probably fine, but even, you know, it's just a little bit too much red. If you're planning on buying this, test it out for a few days and ask yourself, am I gonna work with this, or am I gonna get really tired staring at a screen with all these knobs? I don't know. The VSC2, I keep saying this is one of the best bus compressors. Maybe this one into Townhouse, you get absolutely amazing. The VSM3 was great at the time, but there's better saturator, warmifiers, richnessers, and brightnesser boxes out there. Something like this would have to have some really good oversampling and all these options enabled. And it's a little bit complicated to use. Don't get sucked in by $19.99. The hardware box is amazing. Yes, this is a good time to jump on Brainworks plugins that you've been watching, but again, it's very easy to fall into the trap to buy something just because it is, you know, goes from $3.99 to $29.99. Well, it's usually probably $69.99 or $49.99 these days, and then it goes to $29.99. Excellent product, but again, if you have 50 of these, well, it's not so cheap anymore, right? So as you can see, there's so much out there. I can give you my opinion. I can tell you what I've been using during this process, what I just explained, what I gravitate to. Example, the Amic mastering compressor, absolutely love it. If the Kotelnikov GE Gentleman Edition doesn't do it for me, I use this one. Very minimal in the 1 to 2 dB range. It does its magic. It does make a difference. That's probably more for the advanced user because it is a bit more complicated. So if you're not into mastering and not living in the 1 to 2 dB world, don't bother. You know, just because it says mastering compressor looks cool and got great reviews doesn't mean you need this. I'd rather want you to have a, you know, G-style compressor that you have on the mix bus, also in a 1 to 2 dB range, to kind of curate and glue that sound together. And again, so we want to support our developers. We want to support Plugin Alliance. It is a great company. Not everything they do has to be great, but it is a good company. But also, we got to support our wallets, put the dollars and the mental health where it needs to be. 900 plugins in your plugin folder. Heck no. Here is your solution. If you have too many plugins, check this out. We're going to do a separate review. You want to remove plugins and free yourself from too much options, from too much brain fog. Here you go.